Everyone, and welcome to Friday Night Pint live here on West Ham Fan TV, where we're going to be talking about all of the biggest topics surrounding our beloved West Ham United. Today, there's been a rumor that has come out from, I believe, a few journalists have been putting out that West Ham could potentially go in for Rasmus Hoijlund at Man United for £40 million in the summer, which would be very interesting and sort of probably divisive on opinion on that one. It'll be very interesting to see how we feel about that and how you all feel. A possible update and twist in the Craig Dawson situation. Yes, transfer window is closed, but we could still see him back at West Ham. And little update on Tim Steidten, a little message from him that he's left that we'll just get into and read a bit later, and all the other bits and pieces that come up. But yes, Scott, well, we should be joined by the others at some point. We'll see.
Yeah, hopefully, mate. Hopefully, if not, we'll hold the fort. You know, we're here.
We'll hold the fort, mate, as we do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean the Rasmus Hojlund thing sort of just come out of the blue today, and I started doing the rounds. People are asking me about it, and it's a strange one. What is he? He's like 22 years old. He's not having the best of times at Man United lately, but who isn't? They bought him for £70 million, I believe.
Yeah. Big price tag, mate, and that's probably half the problem. Such a young age, that sort of price tag, it adds a lot of pressure onto the player, doesn't it? You know, he's falling out of favour. You know, they're playing midfielders up front as a false nine instead of playing a striker. So that's a right kick in the teeth, isn't it? For you as a young lad, you know, as you're meant to be the main striker, but you know, as someone put there, 13 games without a goal says it all. You know,
yeah.
Listen,
no, it does. I mean,
go on.
Go
on. Go on.
Oh no, I was going to say. Well, the thing is, I think Man United as a team have struggled to score goals. Like, as a team, like you look at the games, they haven't been scoring many generally. And yeah, he's got to definitely take some criticism of that. He has missed some chances that he should be burying, but it's really hard to write off any player from Man United with the track record of, you know, Aaron Wan-Bissaka aside. I think he's a great example. But you look at Scott McTominay.
Yep,
gone out, done well. Something, you know,
but the thing is, Dan, McTominay was doing well at Man United. You know, you could probably say if you look at Man United without McTominay and Man United with McTominay, they were a better side with him than they are without him.
Yeah,
and that says a lot, you know. But like you're saying there, you know, you look at Jordan Sancho.
Yeah, Sancho.
Sorry, you know, went Man United, fell out with Ten Hag, went to Dortmund, played really well. Back to United, couldn't get a kick. Now at Chelsea, you know, playing really well again. And sometimes the manager, the setup, there does seem to be a sort of issue with that club somewhere along the line. And maybe he's the type of player that sort of would thrive getting out of that. United are a big club in the sense of their following and their income and stuff like that. But maybe the pressure of someone at that age being there when things ain't going good, maybe coming to a club like ours where there's less expectation on you, could be a good thing for both parties.
Yeah. That's it. Look, I'm not doing backflips for Hojlund. You know, like I said, he hasn't exactly, you know, put the legal light. But if it's someone with this new structure, like the new recruitment team, Graham Potter, like they've identified him as he is going to fit what we're trying to do. He has the attributes we can, you know, coach these weaknesses out of him, and he can be our guy. We get 4 million. Then I'm all for it. There was clearly talent there for him to be a 7 million player, and he started very well at Man United, and he's had those prolific spells, but he's also gone through these dry spells. So I think there is potential. I did a stream today, you know, Chelsea fan, Don, who just doesn't rate him at all, thinks he's complete garbage, doesn't like his movement in the box and all of this stuff. And I'm like, things like that, I feel, Scott, you tell me what you think about this, but these certain things can be coached. Like, you can't coach pace and power and things like that. But movement, it runs into the box, movement off the ball, that can be coached, surely.
I don't know, mate, because I think if you're looking at that, right, we've had a player that's played up front for us over a good few years now, and if you could coach forward runs into a player, the player's got to be the right player, because our striker doesn't make forward runs. He doesn't make them strike. And I think a lot of being a striker is good strikers have a striker's instinct. They know where to find the space. They know where to make the runs in behind. They make, do you know what I mean? They pick out. You see it with players like Andy Carroll and even Hojlund. They pick their opportunities to put themselves up against, to move away from the centre backs, to move, get themselves in between the centre back and a full back. Do you know what I mean? So they're attacking the air up against a weaker player in the air. You can coach it, but I just feel that sometimes a striker, it's instinct. They know where they've got to be. They know that space. They preempt where the ball's going to be. And but on the flip side of that, I do think that sometimes the coaching can then affect a striker. If you're being asked to do something that you're not used to doing, for argument's sake, Hilaire was a good striker. Yeah, we just played him the wrong way. Scamacca, again, good striker. Yeah. So you look at the coaching around the team, if it doesn't fit your focal point, then the focal point's not going to work.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And I think I think you're spot on in a lot what you're saying. I do think, okay, maybe not in terms of you can coach someone to be great in terms of their movements off the ball, but I refuse to believe that you can't improve these attributes. Like, you can't improve the weaker areas. Okay, like you said, certain things, profile-wise, like, okay, if you are like Chicharito, you can't coach him to be a target man, for example, like that. But if it's something like, do you know what? His decision-making isn't great. He's not timing his runs properly, things like that. With the drills, repetition, and training, I believe things like that can be improved, maybe not to equal level as the best attributes, but you strengthen them weaker areas, I believe.
Yeah. No, it's exactly, mate. It's same. When you look at you want to practice shooting. Why do you practice shooting? To get better at hitting the target. The more you do it, the more repetitive it becomes, the more natural it becomes. David Beckham, the guy, the way he used to cross a football and the way he used to take a free kick, that comes through practice. And that's the thing, is the players got to want to do it, but like you said, the coaches have got to be giving them the right information of telling them what they want. You think at the time Hojlund's been there, Ten Hag, the way he'd set up is completely different to the way Almiron set up. And a lot like with Lopetegui, players down tools. And this is the thing, and I think a lot of what you see with Almiron doing with Rashford and things like that, it's players that are down tools that weren't going to pick their tools back up and work for a new manager have gone out the door. You see with Potter coming in with us, the players that are down tools for Lopetegui, and just giving up the ghost with him because of, hearing what we're hearing and different things coming out of the club, like the guy didn't really have a clue. It was a new manager comes in, a breath of fresh air, installs a bit of confidence in players. Players lift their games. We look at Paquetá, the way he's been completely different under Potter compared to how he was under Lopetegui. So managers do have an influence and improve players, whether it's giving them a bit more confidence, whether it's tweaking aspects of their game, or whether it's tweaking aspects of the team to suit the player. So, as I've said many times, mate, someone said there earlier on with Lingard, different setup, different styles, breath of fresh air, gives you as a player an opportunity, and sometimes they can thrive from it. But look, it's a bit of a gamble. By the time the end of the season comes, he would have had another season playing in the Premier League. We see what he's about. But then you're sitting there, if Ferguson hits the ground running with us and the opportunity is there to buy him, where would you rather throw that 40 million?
Oh yeah, of course. But I think if Ferguson hits the ground running with us, it will be more than 40 million, and I think that's the problem. They will increase it. Whereas with this one, I mean, he got 16 goals last season in the Premier League for Man United. So 16 goals. That's pretty good. It's pretty good return. His first season in the Prem. He's got 7 so far. So
and the thing is, Dan, he got 16 last season, 7 this season. Who was our top goal scorer last season in the Prem? It was Bowen.
Owen, yeah, was.
Yeah, right. So he got in and around a similar amount of goals, and Bowen had a fantastic season. You know, this is the thing. And this is what I'm saying, because that's Man United. You know, 7 goals this season. He'd be our joint top goal scorer in the Premier League, I think.
Yeah.
And Man United ain't in a much different position to what we're in now. So,
he got 5 goals in 6 games in the Champions League last season.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just waiting. Is he coming in? Do we put him in? We'll see. We got someone in the background. Join when free. All right, we'll put him in. Oh, he's waiting to be put in. I thought he was. There he is. Hey, Rasmus Hojlund, Nick. We're talking about Rasmus Hojlund, West Ham, for potentially £40 million in the summer, plus bonuses. What are you reckoning? Wages, by the way, just to add, he's on 85 grand a week currently at Man United, which isn't crazy for a striker in this day and age.
I quite like Hojlund. I quite like the build of the guy. I think he's got a lot of talent. He scored quite a few goals last season, despite them having a very difficult year. He didn't hit the ground running, but who the fuck does at Manchester United? You know what I mean? Like, they've taken one of the best midfielders in the world and made him into a fucking donkey. So, don't judge anyone too much by his time at Man United. I think if we could attract a player like Hojlund, I think he'd be perfect for us. I think he would be perfect. He's £40 million, not crazy amount of money for a striker. He's very young. He's still got a lot of football left in him. I'm not going to say he's Prem proven, but he's played in the Prem. I think he's got a lot of good attributes. I think he's a good target man, and I think he would be a very, very worth a punt. But I want to see how Evan Ferguson does. That's the one. That's what I want to see. So.
Yeah, that's going to be the interesting thing. Someone asked about injuries. He's missed 20 games in the last 3 years since 22 season. He's had a couple of hamstring injuries, a muscle injury, like nothing long term. Most games in a row he missed was 7. So, I don't think he's not as bad as Evan Ferguson. That's going to be the key. In my opinion, I don't think Evan Ferguson will be a West Ham player next year, because I think if he does poorly and he gets injured, we won't sign him. If he does really well, we'll be priced out of a move for him. So that's the sticky situation we're in. But as long as if he does well and we don't get to sign him, then he's up to us.
I think that all depends on what Brighton do. You know, if Brighton got someone in mind, if someone's got someone in mind and they see the future without Evan Ferguson, then it's game on, isn't it? You know, it all depends. You know, sometimes you get to these situations where the player wants to stay. You know, if he has a good time with Potter, if he's playing football, if he's loved by the crowd, if he's enjoying himself, and they've got someone to line up, you know, a swap for Kudus maybe. You know what I mean? Like something like that. You know, they wanted him before we wanted him. But you know, obviously that's not going to happen. But I'm just saying, like, you know, it's not all dependent on, right, well, he's going back to Brighton now. You know, it all depends on what the player wants. You know, the player will hold the key. You know, if he has a great time here, and they'll have a figure in mind, and he'd have a figure in mind. And you know, as I said, it all depends on what happens here, what happens in the next sort of 6 months or so. You know, as I said, if they've sort of started planning life without Evan Ferguson, 40-50 million pounds in the summer could be very tempting. You know, to just get him out off the wage bill, get him out of the way, let the new striker come in. But it all depends. It all depends.
He's only on 30 grand a week His contract runs out in June 2029. So, yeah, like you said, player power does account for something he can push. I do think they hold a lot of cards, Brighton, that are going to make it difficult. So, like, if he the thing is, the better he does, the higher his price tag goes up in it. Yeah. So that's going to be the thing. If he can do like not too great, but not too bad, and something to build on next season, and keep that 40 mil. And just not get injured. That's going to be the key. But even if he doesn't get injured for the rest of the season, I'm still worried.
The thing is, as well, though, what you got to remember with this profit and sustainability, if they were to shift Ferguson, that's 40 million profit. Do you know what I mean on their book? So that's what you've also got to look at as well. As much as it could be that they want to keep the player, like you've seen with other clubs. Other clubs have had to sell a homegrown player just to balance the books and to keep being able to bring in other players in other positions. So,
Man City have had to sell Cole Palmer. So
And that's the thing. And you look at
quid.
Well, and that's the thing. Look at Cole Palmer and look at what City need.
Yeah,
it's the mad thing about it, mate. And that's how you got to look at it. It depends what position financially Brighton are in, and if they need to strengthen in other places.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to need 2 strikers next season. Yeah. I don't think we're going to shift Fulkrug. I think his injury record is going to be terrible. And I saw a report or somewhere that said that Tim Steidten admitted he regretted signing Fulkrug based on his injury record, and he admitted he made a mistake on that one. Which, I mean, like I said, I think he would have been really good for us, but he's going to be one we're going to be stuck with for a while unless we tear up his contract, because the money he's on and his injury record. So he's going to be one of the ones we have, but we still need 2 that we can rely on. One, whether it's Ferguson, I don't know if I'd have. It's got to be Ferguson or Hoijlund, and then someone else. In my opinion, I wouldn't have both of them together. I would have one or the other, and then someone else. Maybe someone with a bit more pace.
If we could get them two of them for a good price, I think that'd be a good pairing to have. They're both young. They're both very young. There's many years in them too.
Yeah, no, I know that, but I think we can get someone else that's young. Obviously, people are still talking about Jonathan David. Look, if we can get Jonathan David in the summer for free, that's a no-brainer. It's gonna be a lot of competition. But I think you get an Evan Ferguson and Hojlund. Neither of them are known for their pace. I would like an option with some pace and some power to them, that we can have up front. That gives us that different dimension if we could. That is also young. And we seem to be going for youth. So we've got them profiles. I know what you guys think, but I think that's what to have both of them. They're 2 good options. Like, don't get me wrong. I would just like some pace.
Yeah, mate, I see where you're coming from, because you don't want to have similar options each time. You want to, if you sit and probably, like you said, we won't offload Fulkrug. He is more of a target man, interlink in the build up, play, that sort of thing. So then if you have a Ferguson and Hojlund, you're then going to want someone, like you said, who's got that bit of pace, who can run in behind, like an Antonio type. Because obviously, because we the way forward looking at it is we are going to have this free-headed attack, with the 2 wide players and the main striker. So a Danny Ings doesn't work in that system.
No. So I'll tell you what, Scott, what's getting my juices flowing, right? This Colin here, Dan Scott, Nick Gents, we've also been linked with Mateta. Phil, he would do well, but Phil Palace would want big money. Apparently, he's got 1 year left on his contract going into next season.
Yeah.
It would be... that would be... I would take it. I think a few clubs would want him. If we could get him, I would take Mateta all day long at West Ham. I think he would be quality for us under the Graham Potter.
But the thing is, Palace do have this knack of keeping hold of their players.
They do.
They kept hold of it.
I think, because where has it gotten them? They don't, rather than still cash in and reinvest and build.
Yeah, exactly. They are above us.
Oh, they are. But like I said, what if they, in all these years, like all the years that they kept Zaha, right? And they kept Eze and these other players, Tyrant Mitchell, they've never really done anything. They've never got Europe. They've rarely ever finished in the top half.
They've done nothing ever.
Yeah,
ever.
That's what I'm saying. So this whole thing of like, because you was there, you was there when I did my event, Nick. I don't know if you was there when I was debating with D, the Palace fan. He was talking about the scout. Palace aren't a selling club. And I was thinking about it after the fact of like, that's not a flex when you've done nothing. Like, do you know what I mean? I would rather be a selling club that sells like Brighton. Brighton are a selling club, but they reinvest well. They're a better run machine. So if a selling club is something to look down on, I'd rather be a selling club than be Palace that keeps these top players and does nothing season after season.
Palace are a bit like a side back in the 90s and 80s of the top division, where they have a couple of good players that they keep holding a couple of good players and consistently finish mid-table in the league and do nothing else. Do you know what I mean? That's what Palace. That's what Palace are. Unfortunately, they
got him last year of his contract, and the club's willing to chuck 30, 40 million at you. You take it and you go right.
Yeah, Palace did sell a couple of their big players. Palace sold Zaha. Palace sold one.
Well, no, Zaha I think ran out of contract in the end. I think he left on a free.
No, they sold him to Man United.
Originally the first time.
He flopped there and he came back because he didn't. He was a big fish in a small pond or whatever it was at Palace. They sold Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka was the only one worth of. They will sell Gahey. You know what I mean? They will. He will go. He will leave. He'll be leaving in the summer. Like, you can't say they're not a selling club because they've sold some of their big players. But Zaha could not do it anywhere else. He couldn't. That's why he bottled it from going anywhere else. He went to Man United, he bottled it, and he had to come back with his tail between his legs. He went to Man United and ended up at Cardiff the next season, I think it was. And I think he shit himself because he thought, fuck this, I'm not fucking going to be going there. Palace are, they are a selling club, Yeah, they've got players like, I mean...
This may have something to do with it, Nick, as well. Let's not forget that.
No, but he left. He could have went. Listen, man, he was at Man United. He could have went for a lot of places. If he was any good, he could have went to a lot of places. He could have went to Arsenal and he bottled it a few times.
Yeah. Well, this is it. I mean, they put a massive price tag on him.
Nathaniel Klein was another one. There's a lot of players that have been there and fucking and left there. They are a selling club. The only reason they don't, who they just sold, Elise.
Yeah, mate. They're very much like us in that sense of a selling club. We've got a little bit better. We're not as bad as we used to be. Selling all our young talent and all the players that we get through, but they are where we used to be 10 years ago. That's how I look at it. But as I said, they've got them little good players. Probably a bit longer than 10 years ago. Thinking back of it now, but we try and keep hold of our players now. It's only when players you've got special talents like the Declan Rices that outgrow the team. Their ambition doesn't suit or doesn't meet what the club are doing, even though it's not working out too great for him at the minute. But it's one of them, and they will sell their players. They will lose them. Hey, mate,
you got to know when to sell. You got to know when the right time is. And if you have a player like Mateta that holds value and he's 1 year left in his contract and he's not going to sign, then it would be great to have Mateta for that season. You don't want to lose him, but you sell him now, reinvest, and then you've got your set for the long term rather than.
But the thing is,
I will say this: I'd rather be a team like Palace than a team like us at the moment because they buy their players at cheap and they develop them into something. Some of them don't leave. Mateta, who the fuck had ever heard of Mateta before he joined Palace? Who'd ever heard of Andre Ayew's brother before he went to Palace? These players. Who'd ever heard of Eze? Yeah, we was in for Eze as well. So he was, but they don't buy. They're not going out paying 50, 60, 70 million pounds for players that are flopping. If they go to Palace, they're going to Palace for a reason. Sometimes I think it's the best way to be, in the way that they are. They're never even going to be in danger of going down. They always keep hold of their good players. They're at their old ground. They've got they've got their fan base. They know what they're playing to, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes, like you try and mix it with the big boys, and you can end up coming unstuck. Look at us this season; we ended up coming unstuck. Wrong appointment in a manager, fucking, players that don't want to play. Sometimes you just need to, I'd take a little line from, I think the theme of the week. You need to be humble, and not, and not try to, overstep your mark. Players like 60, 70 million pound players that don't play week in, week out is a risk for clubs like us. We can't afford that sort of luxury. We can't afford to be a Man United. That's why we have to be smart with the way our business goes. So I think Hojlund at 40 million pounds is not. I don't think that's a massive risk, to be honest.
No, I'm with you, mate. I don't think it is.
Like I said, he's on 85 grand a week as well. It's not like normal Man United wages where he's on 250 or something like Rashford prices.
And that's the big thing going into the summer. When you think like Danny Ings' contract's up, that's going to be 130 grand a week saving we're getting now. So if you can bring someone in who's half the, who's a player that might give you a bit more options and the likes of Danny Ings on less money as well, it's a good investment.
Yeah, whatever anyone thinks about Hojlund, right? I think we can agree he's an upgrade on Ings. He's an upgrade on Antonio as a striker. Not taking away everything. Antonio is just he's very good at a specific thing that has worked for us. But in terms of just being a striker, I think Hojlund's an upgrade on Antonio.
I'll be honest with you,
especially in 2025.
What they've done to him this week, I'd be knocking on the fucking door telling them I'm never going to play for him again. They played fucking Kobe Mainu up front.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Kobe Mainu, and they got beat by Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Kobe fucking Mainu up front instead of Rasmus Hojlund. I'd be knocking on his door telling him, you know what? Just let me fuck off. You know what I mean? And how much are they going to want for him if they're playing Kobe fucking Mainu up front instead of Rasmus Hojlund?
And that's the thing is Mainu played that. He moved him to the 10, didn't he? He scored 2 goals, and then he played him as a 9. It doesn't make any sense. And left 2 out front now. Anyway.
Yeah, he's currently up front for Man United against Leicester right now. They've obviously got Xerxes they want to move on as well, so it'd be very interesting to see which one they would move on. Moving on both of them, I can't see.
Honestly, mate, it wouldn't surprise me if they did. It wouldn't surprise me if they moved them both on name Rashford. Because the amount of money they'll make through that, they'll go and get somebody else.
Well, yeah, and they're close to PSR. I'll get some comment.
But you say about PSR, you think they sell Rashford? That's all profit. Rashford's been there since.
I would be very surprised if Rashford does a good enough job for Villa to justify not only spending the transfer fee on him, but paying him the wages that he's on. I think he's just going to end up back at Man United and they're going to be stuck with him. I don't think he's going to pull up any trees at Villa, Rashford, to be honest with you. But you're right. Like if they did get that would be huge for them, like PSR wise. Hammer J says, I take Hojlund if the price was right. Potter has a decent record with younger lads. And this is what it's all about. If Potter's identified him and Carl McCauley's, I back Potter in that, right? And I trust what he's trying to do. Medical Sam says, sorry guys, he's not good enough for me. I'd rather go for someone like Jonathan David, which I don't disagree with. In terms of going for Jonathan David, everyone flops at Man United. It's the worst place to judge a player. They ruin everyone. So true. It's so true. But everyone looks great before and after Man United.
Listen. We can't say anything, mate. We've got a track record of ruining strikers.
Yeah.
So we can't say anything.
Yeah. But they do it all over the pitch, Scott. They do it all over the pitch. At least
exactly. Yeah. They're good at doing that. We'd ruin. This is the thing, right? Look, I like Jonathan David, the attributes that the guy's got, and he looks, like he could do a job. But you can just see that coming into us, and we ruin him. That's what worries me.
Do you know what the thing is? I genuinely believe Fulkrug would have done well at West Ham, would have fit us everything if it hadn't been for the injuries.
Yeah.
You can't blame West Ham because there's a track record. So we didn't ruin him in terms of making him injury prone. we just shouldn't have bloody signed an injury-prone player, but I think he would have been great, especially under Potter.
I'm with you. I think, listen, if you can get yourself fit, I think you can still play a part.
Yeah. Like I said,
I think there's going to be cash to play with in the summer anyway. I think there's going to be a couple of big boys going as well. I don't think we're going to be without losing anyone. I think the likes of Kudus will be out the fucking door as soon as the summer comes, to be honest with you. So, yeah.
I think a lot of fans won't be too mad at that at the moment on recent form.
And he's a brilliant player, but there's no need to you can't keep hold of a player that don't want to be there at the end of the day. And he's not, he ain't like he's our one and only fucking hope, is he? At the moment, he's not the one that's pulling us through things, So yeah,
he's definitely not carried us this season.
Yes,
which there's a question coming up, which is on that. But Brighton have already bought the Ferguson replacement. Someone said some Greek player.
Yeah, but he might not work. He might not work. Yeah. That's the problem.
They've got obviously João Pedro. I think is their first choice, isn't he? And they've got the next one, so that'll be interesting. But with the players we have around a player like him, Hoijlund, I think it's all about he would do okay. And that's what it's all about. It's all about going to be the recruitment we get with the striker. The striker's not the one and only piece. We're going to need the players around and recruit. So we've got something and get some more legs in midfield. We would be paying the players more money, and then see us in the top 6. Come on, West. We should be paying the players more money, and then see us in the top 6. Yeah, I don't know. The players would agree with that. Callum Graves has a question. Would you say we are in danger of becoming a one-man team with Bowen if we aren't already? I don't think so in terms of I would probably agree with that before, but I think under Potter we're starting to see improvements from other players. And if you have, like Paqueta, for example, I think Paqueta has been such a bright spark and he got injured under Potter. We've seen how impactful Wan-Bissaka has been as a right wing back. So
I think it's going to be massive when he comes back. I think Somerville's going to be huge when he comes back.
Yeah, Somerville. Yeah, Somerville's going to be huge. I worry if he's going to be an injury.
Do you know what else I think is going to have a massive say in the way things go as well?
Yeah.
I'm going to forget his name. Who's the defender?
Tadibo.
Tadibo. Fucking hell. His mind completely left my mind then. His name. When he comes back, I guarantee you now, he cements himself in that back four and he'll live up to his potential. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah. That's it.
The thing is that it just worries me that players did down tools for managers. You shouldn't be doing that as a player. You should give your all no matter what. At the end of the day, look, it's hard sometimes.
I've heard this manager was a fucking nightmare, Scott.
Yeah, I know, shit. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's so much they down tools Scott. They didn't have a fucking clue what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They didn't understand what he wanted from them.
Mate, some of them down tools because they just didn't do the basics. So some of them down tools. That's the thing. But I also get that sometimes when you're not motivated by a manager, it is hard. You should be motivated by the big fucking wage packet that they get at the end of the week.
When you're questioning, you're questioning what you're being asked to do, and you don't have anything. You're being asked to do the wrong thing. You don't have any faith, and you're like, your heart's not fully in it. I know what you're saying money wise, but you're like, what's he having us doing? And you're just completely against what the manager's doing. I don't know, man. It can have that.
I think what a lot of players do, and I think this is a natural thing, and I don't think it's a choice. I think it's a natural thing. Is to stop to try just to make effort, because if you're making effort and you're looking bad anyway, it makes you look bad. You know what I mean? They think, well, if I don't try, at least I can turn around and go, well, I weren't trying. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, they have got to think about their vet. At the end of the day, if they're going to insist on this geezer staying, you got to think, well, I've got to be moving. And then when someone else comes on, well, he's trying to fucking do things for West Ham and he can't do it, so it may cost him. And I think I don't think this is right, but I think in their mindset they think, well, if I don't try, no one can really. I looked better before. Do you know what I mean? So if I don't try, maybe I can make that as an excuse. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too much into it. But
But not
Yeah,
only that,
that's an interesting question here.
it's work ethic as well. You know, some people got a different work ethic to others, and that's what it's about. You know, players like Bowen didn't down tools. Bowen still played to the best that Bowen could play.
Well, yeah, which wasn't great. Let's be honest, he wasn't
exactly.
great.
But also you can only be as good as the team you're playing in sometimes.
Yeah,
You know, unless you're a Ronaldo type player who can drag teams through like a Maradona. You know, Maradona turned Napoli into league winners.
I think to say like I wouldn't like to go around and say with this player down tools, this one didn't. I don't think we have enough evidence there to really, unless we went back every game.
You know, you can sit there and look at the players in that 11.
Go on, all right, give us some names then, Scott. Come on,
down tools. Kilman down tools.
Say down tools.
I don't think Kilman down tools.
Kilman down tools. Yeah, of course he did. Tadebo down tools.
He was left. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, the easiest way to do it is pick the players that didn't down tools: Thomas Souček, Vladimir Soufal, and Jared Bowen, and Somerville. 4 players that didn't down tools. Still tried each week.
So everyone else, they're based on that down tools.
Yeah,
down tools means that they purposely played shit.
No, down tools in the concept of a footballer is they didn't give their all. They didn't play to the best of their ability.
I don't think that's down. Like if you're down in tools, okay. In the logic,
in
tools,
it's a metaphor.
You're going now.
Yeah.
Like you're doing it on
down
purpose.
Tools, you walk out. You don't do. Yeah, but in everyday life, in normal life, down in tools is you don't do sod all, right? In a footballing world, the bubble that they live in, when you're down tools, it's you don't give 100%.
But you're doing it on purpose. Like
of course
you're choosing. Yeah, I'm not giving my all today.
They're sitting there going, "This geezer don't know what he's talking about. He don't like me. Why should I bother?"
Yeah,
you look at someone like Saeed Benrahma. The amount of times that he played well for us and then still got dropped the next week, or come on and made a difference and got dropped the next week by Moyes, he didn't down tools. He still tried his best. Sometimes his best wasn't good, but he tried. Yeah. And this is it. And this is why you see it when new manager comes in. The new manager bounce is sometimes the players think, I want to impress this manager. This guy knows what he's talking about. I didn't like the last geezer. I'm going to do this a bit better now. And that's why you get the new manager bounce.
I'm not saying you're wrong, Scott, but you're not right. No, I'm joking. No, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just saying like you're right. But I think that there's a lot of good points to what you're saying, but I don't know. Like without being in the dressing room, without being with the players, it's a good speculation. But I think obviously there's a degree of speculation that we have to say. So I wouldn't blister a player for it. Like I wouldn't be like, nah, like he's not for me. Down tools type.
We was at an event last night, and something was said at an event, and he's when you're down, and things ain't going right. There's certain players that will put their head above the parapet and stand up, be counted, and there's certain players that will bitch and moan and make it everyone else's fault, and not instead of unifying as a team, they'll look to blame their teammates for the problems. And that's the difference between a team when things are going shit that stays up and a team that things are going shit that goes down.
I think you'll always have those characters.
Yeah, you do, mate. You do. That's it. And that's the thing. But that's when you need a manager or a captain that can galvanise people to get people different, to get people all singing from the same hymn sheet. And that's, again, why sometimes you get a new manager bounce, because a new guy comes in, he's a different type of person, he's a different type of man manager, he manages the team differently, he manages the people differently, and it can galvanise people.
Yeah. Let's quickly get to this question. Just quick. If Paqueta doesn't get banned, do you see him staying at West Ham? I don't think we would sell both Kudus and Paqueta. And I think Paqueta seems to be really enjoying his football under Potter. And I think if he continues to play like this, I think Potter will be a big part of the plans. I think he stays. I think the Man City shit, that boat sailed now. So I feel like he will stay.
I can see himself going somewhere in Europe, but I don't think he will now. I don't think he will. I think once he gets through this, he might stay on to become a West Ham legend. You know, I think it all depends on his Brazil place. He's lost his Brazil place at the moment. He's lost it. So I think it all depends on whether there's a way back for him for Brazil, and if they want him sort of playing at top level football to get his way back. In that case, I could see him going somewhere in, perhaps somewhere like Atletico Madrid, somewhere like that. I don't think he'll play at the top. Maybe Barcelona. I don't think he'll play at the top level now, but he could definitely play for one of those. But I think it all depends. If it, I don't know. I mean, how old is he now? 28. He's got to be getting that. Yeah, he's got to be getting up there. Like, if that ship sails, Leicester are beating Man United.
Come on. 27 against 27. Come on.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think, as we say, let's see.
I don't necessarily think the Man City ship has sailed because of the position Man City are in.
Yes, yeah.
That's the worry. They need. They're on a rebuild now, and they're going to be looking for players that can improve.
Would have been 2 years ago, Scott. And I know. Obviously, I know that it's Man City and all that, but we still don't know. We still don't know. What's happening with them charges. There's a lot of players saying, a lot of people saying like that's a bit of the reason why they're doing as bad as they are at the moment. So I don't know.
I think we've put out there now the way things seem to be slowly turning at the club and the fact that his form's lifted. I think we've got a lot more of a chance of keeping him at the club at the end of the season than we did beforehand.
Yeah.
Rich West Ham here with £5 super chat. Thank you very much, Rich. We always appreciate you in the chat. And he says, had Liverpool to beat Rotherham or Rottingham? Is it supposed to be? Is it Rotherham or
Tottenham last night?
Tottenham. Oh, Rottingham. I was like, I checked the FA Cup, and I went, oh no, they're playing Plymouth Argyle, not Rotherham.
They beat them. They beat them 4-0.
Oh, gee. So 11. All right, someone tell me. Okay, if I put a tenner on 11-1, I win 110 quid. Is that right?
110 plus your 10.
Yeah, so you get 120. Yeah.
So I don't know how much Rich has put on, but I hope it was a good amount because that is a great shout. And Spurs are just a gift that keeps on giving.
Do you know what, right? The thing that annoyed me that as much as I don't want to see Spurs in the cup final, right? It would have been more funny to see them get to the final and then Newcastle would stuff them in the final.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it would have been a thing of beauty, like to see it.
No, I liked it. I liked it as it was last night. Thank you very much.
I don't like the Liverpool in finals. That's the problem.
Gives a shit. I don't give a shit about Liverpool. I'm just saying, when I get to semi-finals, they go into them 1-0 up, and they all think they're going to fucking win. I heard them the other day saying, "I bet you Sonny scores the winner. I bet you Sonny scores the winner." They had no chance, no fucking chance of going to Liverpool and winning, none whatsoever. In fact, I wasn't watching it because I was at an event with you, Scott, but I heard they was fucking pathetic.
Yep. It was. Yeah, the same way. Yeah. Yeah,
it was so pathetic watching that performance. Nothing about them. I don't think they had a shot all game. They have a single shot, just weak. Like it's Spursy.
It's funny because apparently all of their troubles are down to Van de Ven and Romero missing. But you can't shoot. I mean, who the fuck? I don't understand how they're putting all their troubles down to them two being missing.
Listen, their troubles is down to their manager. That's all their trouble is that they've got a lot of injuries, but the reason they've got the injuries to the defenders is he chooses to play this system, and is another David Moyes in the sense of I'm stubborn, I'm playing it my way, whether you like it or not. And this is why a player like Van der Ven's got the injuries he's got because he keeps having to run. It's game management. The guy's got no game management. And you know what? I hope they keep him there for so much longer because he's so entertaining watching them be so bad. But they still stuffed us. That's fucking annoying.
Yeah, the thing is, and I get it, Liverpool are great, but I don't think this is what Liverpool had to be at their best. I think Spurs were that toothless and that poor that it was just easy. It was light work for Liverpool. It weren't Liverpool at their best. So, listen, long may it continue. That's every wins in his second season, Ange. I always win something in my second season, mate. Well, That's one down. So let's see. He's got the Premier League, the Europa League, or the FA Cup. Let's see. But yeah, do you know what? Speaking about defenders, Nicky, your face lit up last time when we spoke about this man, and it may light up again. Because even though the transfer window's closed, we may still have a chance to sign Craig Dawson, Virgil van Dawson. There are rumours that his contract may be terminated at Wolves, and which means he could be available to come to West Ham for the remainder of the season. Now,
I don't think he'll come back. I don't think he'll come back. To be honest with you, I don't think I'd want him back. When I know that I said it last week, but he did leave us for family reasons. He had to go back up north. So, if he came back, I'd feel a little bit betrayed that he left, because I think to myself, like, well, if you wanted to go left for family, how comes it's all right now to come back? You know what I mean? But no, listen, I'm not that fucking. It's not that deep, but I'm just saying, like, I'd be a little bit miffed if he did come back. So
I look at it just from a play. I mean, look, he might look at it and go, do you know what? On a short term, and if he hasn't got any other offers, like, I think he would do, even though, like I said, he left for family reasons. I think he would do it for a chance to, look, let me get West Ham. It's short term. I'll do the commute, whatever, right? I think he would be very tempted to do it. Whether we should do it, we do need bodies, but he's nowhere near the player that we had at West Ham. I mean, look, he's got to the point where midway through a season, they're looking to terminate his contract. And I've seen some of his games at Wolves, and he has been a bit of a liability at times. I mean, class for us, really overseeded expectations. But I think for Pete, and Red 5, I think, makes a good point. It could ruin that cult hero status. He comes back, and fans are going to expect the Craig Dawson that we had, and he's just not going to be up to it. I just don't think he needs to drop down a league or two.
You know what? I think you should go and help our mate fucking Kevin Nolan out at Northampton Town. That's what I think you should do.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
That's it. Look, and that's the thing. Like I said, he stuck around 6 months longer than what he wanted down south, because he did want to go. The only reason he left was for family reasons, and you can't like knock that. At the end of the day, he stayed around 6 months longer than what he said he would to help the club out. Yeah. So you got to respect him for that. And like you said, I think now he's not going to be the player he was, and I don't think we need him back. That's how I see it. I'd rather see Callum Casey given a go. The kid's got a future. He's highly rated by the coaches there.
Absolutely. You can't turn around and say things like, we kept Tom Bonner for too long, we kept on Cresswell for too long, if you're going to turn around and go bring Dawson back. And I mean this with the greatest respect to Dawson. I want to see the new breed come through. I don't want to see older players coming back. And listen, I love the geezer for what he done, and he's obviously a bit of a cult hero of mine. And when the thought of him coming back, I was thinking, yes, why not? But then I think, if it's going to cost someone like Caelan Casey a spot in the squad, or a Scholesy, or even a Popsy or someone like that, why?
Yeah,
we've had enough of them. We've said about Bonner, we've said about fucking Zabaleta, we've said about Aaron Cresswell. We've said even about Mikel Antonio in the past, although I think Mikel Antonio's got a thing. The future is not them. Aaron Cresswell is not the future for this football club anymore, as seen by Ollie Scholes playing. So why keep on giving them places on the bench? I know they're senior pros. I know that they've got to play, but why keep on extending the contracts? I think it's fucking stupid. And to sign one back would be silly, in my opinion.
I'm with you, mate. I think, I've said before, I understand why Cresswell's still at the club. Letting Bonner go, I think, was the right time. Froggy, he was a great servant for us, but
too late, Scott. The same as
apparently we can't sign him even if they tear up his contract, because he already registered for Wolves when the window closed. He was a registered player, so apparently that means even though
they have to release your registration.
Yeah.
Well, This is what I'm reading here. He can sign for another country where the window's still open, such as Turkey or United States.
Yeah, you could,
or he could have his contract paid up and train with West Ham ahead of the season in the move. So if they pay up, if his contract's paid up and he's not still getting paid, he can train. This is what I'm reading anyway. So.
I thought free agents, no matter where they were, once their contract's terminated, they're a free agent. They could sign for another English club up until March.
Well, the thing is, because he's not out of contract, I think it's a case of.
But he will be if they terminate his contract. He'll be a free. But I'm sure the cut-off period is March.
I don't know whether they're going to terminate. They're obviously still going to pay him for a certain. They're going to make some sort of agreement. No, I don't know. You might be right. This is what I'm just reading.
Yeah, if they terminate his contract and make him a free agent, they stop paying him. It's not like oh, we're letting you go, but we're going to pay you the remainder of the contract. They're terminating his contract, so it's like a mutual consent thing. There's no big payday or anything. You don't get your loyalty bonuses and all that. You just we're not paying you from this day, and you're no longer our player.
No, you're right. So maybe that's it. We'll see. But yeah, listen, that Casey, you can't tell me he would do a worse job than Dawson in 2025. Like, there's no way. So I would rather. What's that?
Talking to Caelan Casey, as it said, West Ham under 21s are playing. They're winning 1-0 against Arsenal under 21s, and Caelan Casey has scored the goal.
Lovely. See, like Dawson, known for his goals at West Ham. But yeah, I agree. He should go Wrexham. He should join the Wrexham thing.
Northampton, man. Northampton.
Well, Northampton, yeah. But he might fancy a bit of Hollywood. Do you know what I mean? He might fancy getting in the new.
Craig Dawson in Hollywood.
Yeah. Well, Paul Mullin got in Hollywood, didn't he? He got in the Deadpool movie.
Who?
Paul Mullin.
He was Paul. He was a Welsh Deadpool, wasn't he?
He was the Welsh. Even though he's.
He might fancy it. I can't see Craig Dawson wanting a bit of Hollywood, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, why not? Why not? Fuck it.
So let's go. I'll get into the Tim Steidten. He's broke his silence after leaving West Ham.
What he thought?
It took me a minute to what you said. No, he had something to say about West Ham.
Did he?
And he said, it was always my dream to work in a leading position in the Premier League, and it was actually a wonderful journey in a great club with great fans. Together, we initiated many processes and new structures, signed very exciting players with a lot of potential, and reached the quarterfinal of the Europa League together. In the current constellation, however, it is best for everyone to go their separate ways. And I thought that was quite nice, quite classy.
Yeah, very classy. Very classy. I heard the dismissal wasn't as classy as that. But
Nick, does that surprise you?
No, I expect nothing else. Yeah,
no, exactly. Do you know what I mean? The way they've treated people in the past, you knew there was nothing going to be classy about that. Letting go.
I hope that he fucking ate and drunk and fucking enjoyed them private fucking jets as much as he could while he was in this job. I hope he fucking rinsed that little ball for fucking all he had with the dinner expenses. Honestly, I hope he got as much as he could out of him, the fucking little ponce.
Yeah, like, look, I know he weren't everyone's cup of tea.
Don't forget, this is a geezer, right, that moaned about the fact that he had to pay for the team to fucking travel to a cup game.
Yeah. Cool.
How much you don't like paying out money?
I maintained that Steidten was a Sullivan scapegoat. I still believe that. And look, he come in, like I said, there were some misses, but there were some hits. The deals we wanted got over the line. And he tried to bring in a new structure and do a new way of doing things. And look, it didn't work out. And I wish him the best. And look, for us, Sullivan aside, I'm happy with the direction we seem to be going with what Potter's trying to do, with the recruitment team he's putting in place, with this seemingly new youth approach that we're trying to sort of go for. I'm happy, but I think Tim Steidten was a step in the right direction for us. We're trying to move away from the Sullivan, bloody sex shop backdoor dealings thing trying to do. Do you know what I mean? Businesses like that. Was that Only Fools and Horses episode where he goes and does a deal with it? He buys one of them blow up dolls, didn't he?
The Russian dolls.
Pretty much every one of them, Dan. That was a concept of the show, mate.
That's it. That's David Sullivan. But yeah, so I hope we treat the current bloody recruitment team a lot better than Steidten was treated, and just let them get on with it. Let them identify the players. I'm very interested to see this new data driven way of doing things. It seems to be what Brighton have had success with, looking at the stats and the numbers. I think we probably looked at stats and numbers sometimes in the past just only, and I think we'll probably look at data like say strikers. We looked at, they've scored this many goals in this many games. Let's sign him. But I'm hoping we're looking at numbers in terms of the deeper stats, in terms of that leads to their pace and what they're doing on the ball, off the ball, all them deeper stats. You know, expected assist, expected this, and how many chances. I think they'll look at that. So yeah, what about you guys? How do you feel about like this new data approach and all of that?
It seems to work for others. You know, at the end of the day, it's something that we've never tried before, and I think you got to give it a go in this day and age. I think that's the way that the manager likes to operate, and I think we owe it to him to let him operate like it. You know, the thing is, he'll want some fucking data software that's going to cost Sullivan 50 grand, and he'll start whinging. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, you got to allow the manager to fucking put everything in place that he wants it. I honestly think that Potter will be a breath of fresh air for this football club. I honestly do. I think he's going to be an absolute fucking runaway success here. You know, and all them people that sound be careful what you wish for and all that sort of thing. When I wanted fucking Moyes gone, I hope they're watching, because I fully back it. I think he will be a runaway success. The only way he won't be a success here is if the club don't allow him to be a success here. That's the only way. And I think that if we're going to let the geezer, drive us forward, then give him everything he needs. And if that means Tim Steidten's got to go, so be it. If it means Mark Noble's got to go, so be it. We've got to go with the times. If the manager doesn't think that these things in place is helping the football club, we've got to move on. You know, there is a couple. There's a couple of people that you wouldn't like to lose their jobs, but at the end of the day, if you want to be successful in football, you can't be. I can't sit here and go, well, don't give fucking Ogbonna a contract, or Cresswell a contract. Nostalgia wins you nothing in football. Looking backwards wins you nothing. You've always got to be looking at the way you've got to, you go forward. And I know it's horrible, but as long-suffering fans, sometimes it gets on my fucking nerves that they expect me to pay top money to pay for fucking players that they've kept on just because they fucking like them about. I don't like to see that. What was the point in keeping Ogbonna on at £85,000 a week when he played 2 games?
You'll never get over that Ogbonna one. It will never ever get over.
Because you have to move on. You have to. And sometimes I think like, as much as I did like people like Moyes, I think people like Moyes was holding people back, and I don't want to see him hold back anymore. I think the data system is the way to go forward, because you can see the data. As soon as that data starts dropping, there can't be no excuses. If you're going to run the club by a data-driven system, if the data starts dropping, if all of a sudden someone like Aaron Cresswell's stats are not as good as it was the last season and they're declining, there's no excuse. You can't turn around and go, well, maybe he can get away with it. No, he's out. The next one's in. If the kid's fucking, if the kid's fucking stats are better than his, then he goes in.
Yeah, no, I said this last week.
Yeah, Mark Noble is one. What the fuck does Mark Noble do? I like Mark Noble. I love Mark Noble. I've got Mark Noble's fucking shirt up on my wall upstairs. Got his book signed up. But what does he do? Everyone I ever talked to connected with the club says he does nothing. They don't know what he does.
Well, apparently he's trying to sort out a deal for us to sign the young Celtic lad. That's what he's doing at the minute, according to reports.
The fucking transfer.
He's supposed to be.
No, he's trying to get him to sign a pre-contract because Celtic wouldn't let him go because he's out of contract in the summer. But what you're saying, Nick, I agree with what you're saying with the data-driven stuff, and it is a breath of fresh air and wanting to see it. The thing that worries me about it is at the top, at the end of the day, still the person at the top that has the overall say on it all is Sullivan. And
but like,
as we know, Leopard doesn't change its spots. Sullivan's never changed. He's always interfered, always been the one. And the thing is, if we're going on this data-driven thing and stuff like that, the buck still stops with Sullivan. He's the man that signs the checks. So at the end of the day, Potter could sit there and say, we want this player, this player, this player. If it ain't a Will Salthouse player, or if a cheap alternative is what Will Salthouse has got, that's who we're going to end up with. And this is going to be
we've always going to have
a repeat problem.
Yeah, as long as Sullivan's in charge, that's going to be a thing. But the thing is, do we just give up and go, oh, look, there's no point in fucking getting behind this because Sullivan's in charge? Like,
we have to hope. We have to hope that we find gems. And that's going to be the thing. We're going to need to find gems within this data-driven system that he can't say no to.
The past has proven that we can be successful in spite of Sullivan, right?
Yeah, of course it can. Yeah.
So I am willing to let myself be optimistic about what we've got in terms of the recruitment team and Potter, because I believe that we still have a chance of being successful in spite of Sullivan, not because Sullivan is the owner. And like I said, that is always a handicap. Sullivan is owning this football club is a handicap. However, we can still, I think, he can stumble on something good accidentally. And Potter seems to have the right mindset. He's going for youth. He's bringing in the academy players. He's trying to get the age of the squad down. He's trying to play some better football. He's trying to be more sustainable, trying to go for this new data-driven approach. So he's doing everything the right way. If Sullivan just gives him the money, which he's given Moyes a load of money, he's given Lopetegui a load of money, give Potter a load of money, then we have every chance.
Yeah. And that's the thing, that we can't sit here and say Sullivan's not backed the managers. Sullivan has backed the managers, but he's also interfered.
You just think that's his problem. He interferes.
And that's the thing. It's that stop the interference now. No, we can't sit and criticise Sullivan for not backing the managers. You know, we've spent nigh on 500-600 million in the past 5 seasons. You know, that's a lot for us. Do you know what I mean? If look, I know we got the money. When you look at the PSR things like that, I know we got a lot of money for Rice, and we have sold players out the door, so the net spend isn't as high as it could be, right? But at the end of the day, like you said, he's backed the managers. He now needs to back this manager. You know, Lopetegui was given money. A lot of that money was wasted. Like starting, as you said, we're starting with Fulkrug. You know, sometimes things work out, sometimes don't. But get rid of the interference. If you're having faith, if this is the guy you've brought in to do the job that you can think can take the club forward and propel us back up the league, right, and then back competing again next season, then do what you've done with the last managers. Back him. Yeah. Let him make the decisions.
I think there might be a little bit more trust for Potter because he's got the Burnham link with the board and the Brady connection, all of this stuff. They might be a little bit more trust that you would hope that Sullivan don't get involved because he thinks he knows better and he might, you know. I'm just saying that's a possibility. He said West Ham. This is another problem. West Ham don't do business in secret. Constantly leak our business. And you know what was so funny about this? I see that Muppet, the Moose, the last week in a press conference with Potter, asking about transfers and him saying, look, I don't talk about players. He's like, oh, but I asked because the fans want to know. They want to know who you're trying to sign and what you're trying to do. And I'm like, this clown hasn't got a clue. No real fan of their club wants their manager to go in and the press and tell the press, yeah, we're going for this player, we're going for that player, we're trying to negotiate this, we're trying to do that. And that shows you how clueless the Moose is. I mean, this is the guy that wanted Spurs to win the Champions League. Let's not forget that. And he's a West Ham fan. And that just honestly, this video is so out of touch. It baffles me.
The Moose has got a job to do. The Moose has got a job to do. And he can dress it up however the fuck he wants about how he's got a job to do. He's got to make news. He's got to make reports. Mm-hmm. I think it's about time a little fat shit lost his job, to be quite honest with you, because I think he's fucking useless, if I'm honest.
But the fact that fans want the manager to tell us what business we're trying to do and who we're trying to sign.
Fans always want to know. They always want to know. That goes back to
I disagree.
Days before teletext and that. That's why, with all due respect, that's why the West Ham have got so many Patreons.
Yeah, no, we want to know. We want to know the room, but do we want the manager to come out and reveal all of our targets and who we're trying to sign and what we're trying to do? Do we want to hear it from the horse's mouth? I mean, it's one thing, rumors and stuff like that. Listen, we can eat up all the rumors, all the teletext, all the ex-employees, West Ham ways. We can have all that. It's a whole different ball game when the manager of your football club is coming out going, "Yeah, we're trying to sign Ferguson. You know, they want 40 million. We're not sure if that's too much money. And oh yeah, Rashford. Yeah, we're just going to try and get him on loan, see what we can do there." Like, does any fan want that?
Nope.
Any fan?
No. I don't listen. I'm
an idiot to want that. You're an idiot. If you want that, you're an idiot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know people make a living off the back of the leaks that come out of the football club.
Yeah, the leaks.
I look at Aston Villa and the way they do their business. Look, I don't follow Aston Villa socials, so I don't know whether there's people there leaking the stuff out, right? But the fact that we've all seen firsthand pictures of players we're signing in the kit coming out before it's announced by the clubs and things like that, I don't want that, right? I want the first time, I want us to do business like Villa. Get the business done and then go, oh, we'll sign this player. Boom, there he is. Do you know what I mean? Look, as I said, I respect the people that make a business out of it. It's their job, it's their living, and that's good on them. But for me, do the business behind closed doors. I don't want people to know. I want us to go in there and do the business. Get it done.
But we'd be hypocritical, I think, because obviously we do videos on it and we talk about it. But in my opinion, the way I look at it is, say other clubs that where we compete, say Brighton or Everton, right? We might be competing. They're not sitting there subscribing to the West Ham Way Patreon. They're not watching West Ham Fan TV to see. In my opinion, if they're basing there, because it's all rumours. That's what it is. It's rumours.
Yeah, but fans out.
No, when it comes to in the nose, it's in the know, isn't it? So they're not rumours. And I think you'll be very surprised about who's looking at what and how they're getting their information. But you are right. You are right. It's detrimental. It's detrimental to what you're trying to do, because the more you allow yourself to fucking put yourself in a position of bidding against people, the way the more you allow people to come into the fray and sort of start to think of it as an option when they may not have known it was an option, it's detrimental to you. And sometimes I do think that they just pay homage to people and they're literally just playing a game. The Duran deal. There was a deal to be done for Duran this January. There was a deal to be done quite clearly because he went.
Yeah.
And
I still think in the nose are still rumours, because it's not first-hand information, it's second, third, fourth-hand information.
It's
and not all of it
information that they want they want people to know. That's all it is.
That's what I'm saying. So
the mad thing about it is when you sit there and you see people like Claret and Hugh and all that, where they leak what Sullivan wants leaked. Oh, we've got no money to spend. Where he's trying to drive the ambition of the fans and other clubs thinking that we've got no money to spend. And then you've got another set of in your nose that like, oh yeah, well we're in talks with this player, we're in talks with this player. So it contradicts each other. Do you know what I mean? You got one saying from one source going, oh, we've got no money, and another one from another source going, well, we're trying to sign X, Y, and Z.
That's what I'm saying. So how can, say you've got a football club, right? A Premier League football club. They're looking at Claret and Hugh. They're looking at West Ham Way and going, oh, let's see. Oh, no, he's saying they've got no money. He's saying they got money. He's saying we're trying to sign this player. He's saying we're not. What do we do? Like, I refuse to believe that's what's happening. I refuse to believe.
It happened, mate. It happened.
You'll be very surprised.
I would be surprised. I would be surprised, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if David Sullivan was doing that, because of the type of fucking bloke he is. Do you know what I mean? He's not a professional.
Watches this channel.
Say David Sullivan. Probably not after some of the things that you've said about it.
No, but you think he doesn't. I'm going to tell you now, he doesn't. But there's people around him that do. And there's people around him that inform him about what's going on, and that's why we've had the trouble. But so yeah, if you want to tell David Sullivan,
that Nicky Hawkins, That Nicky Hawkins has called you. I'll see you next Tuesday again.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh, I can't sleep,
mate. He don't know us from Adam. You know what I mean? And yeah,
listen, Nick, you'd be surprised.
now we know who Paulie Walnuts is.
I know people in the club know us. I know people in the club know us, and I know a lot of people know us within the club, and I know they know we are. You know, people come up to me from the club and say that they know who I am, but he doesn't. He's so fucking warped in his own planet that he honestly, mate, he does not come out of his fucking house.
Yeah,
so,
I can't imagine him watching YouTube. Like, you know what I mean? Watching us.
Of course. But like Nicky said, people around him do.
You porn or whatever it is, but I can't imagine.
Yeah. That's yeah, but obviously you've met Brady, so she obviously knows who we are.
Oh yeah, she knows.
The fan meeting and that. So yeah, like you said, you know, despite whatever happens in the summer, like I said, I was saying to Scott earlier, Nick, we have to believe that we can be successful again in spite of Sullivan, like we was under Moyes.
I think
and
so.
I think we have everything in place that we can do that. Just give Potter the money, let him spend it, and we're looking good. Things are looking up. So listen, this break is good.
Andy said, "Come on, Nicky. I know you want the legend Sullivan hat. Will suit you."
I'll tell you what. I'm not even joking. You know, I think Andy's onto something there.
What do you
I
mean?
think he's on. Yeah, you know, like fucking John Candy and Uncle Buck. Not Uncle Buck. Was it Uncle Buck? He had that hat. No,
Uncle
he had
Buck.
that.
It's Uncle Buck.
Oh, but it was one film, didn't he? He had the hat, the Russian.
Yeah, Uncle Buck. It is Uncle Buck.
Yeah, I know he had the fedora in Uncle Buck, but it was also he had the Russian hat as well.
No, weren't that that must have been Cool Runnings.
Well, I was just thinking that. I know he had a hat in Uncle Buck, but when it did that one in Cool Runnings, because it was obviously the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, it was either that or it might have been Planes Trains. Oh, it was Planes Trains Automobiles.
Yeah. I do remember now.
Oh no, yeah, Uncle Buck in the yeah, it was Uncle Buck.
It was Planes Trains Automobiles. It was. I watched it many times.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite films. But I'll show you. Uncle Buck. He did have. There was a scene. That's Nicky. If he has a shave and he wears that hat. And he also had that.
That looks like? That looks like that fucking Ben Spurs. Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah. Come on, you Spurs. Let's see me. That is there we go. There's our movie reference. Yeah. All right, lads. Well, thank you all for joining us. It's been a great show as usual. Lots to get into. Hope everyone enjoys the little break. No West Ham because we're out of the FA Cup, so we get to just watch as a neutral and hopefully, Man United under 21s beat Arsenal. Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
Something to celebrate. We've got another one over on Arsenal, our youth. So good to see. So yeah, and then obviously look, we've got all the build up to Brentford next week coming up, which is going to be a big game. Very important. Hopefully, we get some more players back, and we can get our first home win since Fulham.
Oh God!
So,
fucking spider on my computer. Just appeared. He's having a good old
bloody hell.
Go.
Yeah, all right, lads.
Yeah, let me show everyone.
Before Nicky turns into Spider-Man. Yeah, listen, thank you all for watching. And for those who asked about the event, I put a video up on Lawless Live, the clip of me and Deji going at it. Have West Ham been more successful in the past 10 years than Spurs? That's the debate topic. So go check that out. Thank you all for watching. One thing left to say. Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.